Hello, everybody. Tim Knight here, and happy Tuesday to you. We have a green day on our hands. Like yesterday, I got stopped out of a bunch of stuff at the opening bell. Unlike yesterday, I did not rush right back into it, half an hour later. My trust of this market has been diminished a little bit today. Don't take too much from that, but I've definitely cranked risk down somewhat. Still purely short, and a lot of different positions, but took off the big ones. Took my profits on my diamond short this morning, got stopped out of my EFA short right away. So although my risk has dropped precipitously from like 250% down to about 95%, it was done mostly by way of a few big ETFs. So it's a green day, as I said. ES, NQ, RTYYM, all green, with tech stocks in particular being strong. The NQ is up over 500 points, almost 2%. So let us tiptoe into the tulips here to check out the charts together and get a better sense of where things are up to date. So the diamonds have been monkeying around for 3 days now. We had a nice tumble on Friday, and it looked like that would be exacerbated by yesterday's action. We had a nice bearish engulfing pattern. But this illustrates nicely that candlesticks aren't particularly predictive because they're based on like one or two price bars. And today, it's just shrugging. The price range we've been in is roughly similar to yesterday's, although the bar is green instead of red. So as I said, I got out of my entire diamond short, and I'm just kind of waiting. This could rally back up to the trend line perhaps, or it could tumble away based on some nasty earnings, or it could just sit there. It's not clear enough for me to bother sticking around with that particular one. What I'm watching especially closely, of course, is semiconductors. Now, this is kind of an exaggerated view of it. This is SOXL, which is the leveraged bullish instrument on semiconductors. And you can see here for a while, from the end of March until pretty much here, the start of June, so basically all of April and all of May, it was essentially just blasting higher. And the first big shot across the bow was here, big plunge. And then it shook that right off for a couple of weeks and blasted to its lifetime peak on June 22nd. And that was kind of it, because from there we went from $302 down to $116. So just in a few weeks lost almost 2/3 of the value. And what's been happening recently is on Friday and today and yesterday, we've been recovering. So as you can see here, we bottomed on Friday, and so we opened weak, closed strong. Yesterday, opened strong, closed weak, but still had a net gain. And today, opened strong and are currently still strong. We're up on this one, a hearty 15.3%. I emphasize again, this is a leveraged instrument, triple, I think. But you can see from the pattern, this does not exactly scream new bull market. To me, it screams get out while you can. So because we've basically done the easy part, we've bounced right back to the pattern. So we'll see. I'm lighter on semis than I was because they move rather violently, and the aforementioned stop outs were largely in that zone, and I really haven't wanted to get back into them again. So if we plunge tomorrow on semis, great, but I won't partake of it as heavily as I would have. Although I did, based on today's strength, get a little more aggressive on my SMH September puts. EWY is sort of a different flavor of the same argument. This is South Korea, very, very similar in setup. Different drawings here. We broke this uptrend a while ago, and on the whole have been in this descending channel for the past couple of months. You can see just you can imagine in your mind's eye a couple of parallel lines just plunging right through there. XME, which is metals, is, like a lot of metals, having a much needed bounce today. There were so many sectors that were terribly sold off. Gold, silver, miners, platinum, palladium, Bitcoin. Well, Bitcoin's been recovering recently, but almost all assets really sank hard with the semiconductor slipperiness, and that's bouncing to some degree. And of course, the more badly things are beaten, like to take an extreme example, like American Bitcoin, something like that, it can easily bounce 7, 8, 9% when it opens because they've been just mushed. So here's XME, which is up about 3.5%. And it's a really tough read because this thing is slogged down for months now. It's not something I would trade. But I don't suspect any of these counter-trend rallies are going to yield any lasting difference any more than, say, this last one did. But if forced, I would rather be long this than short right now because metals have been so badly busted. Here's another one, GLD, gold. On the one hand, we've got a big old right triangle pattern there, very bearish. And on the other hand, we've got room to bounce here, plenty of room to bounce. So I could see it maybe fighting its way back to the baseline of that right triangle, perhaps. The miners, GDX, are along for the ride, definitely up about 4 1/3%. Here again, a huge overhead supply, but it's a little ways away. We could rally on this. I haven't calculated the percentage or anything, but if you said it was another 10% or more, absolutely could believe that because it's so deeply sold off. And just one last metal example, silver tends to be more volatile than gold, and it's showing that here too, up over 4 1/4%, and plenty of potential upside. Not as clear sort of where the line in the sand is, maybe as low as roundabout there. So the Mania is definitely busted, and a lot of people are comparing the metals mania that terminated late in January and plunged thereafter with the semiconductor mania. I've tried to line those up in some kind of analog. It doesn't really work for me. I don't. From a narrative perspective, I get it. Yeah, big run up, everyone's buying it once, and then it breaks, then it falls a lot. Okay, it's easy to say in a sentence, but when you actually overlay the charts, and I love analogs more than anybody, I really wanted to see some kind of tick by tick tracking. It didn't happen, but you do see that in terms of just the psyche of people getting all wrapped up in that, like they did with SpaceX, for example. But in SpaceX is getting a rare green day here. I think of the prior, if my count's right, of the prior 13 trading days, 2 were green, and the other 11 were red. And of course, red and green don't necessarily mean the change is up or down for the day. That's just the color of the candle based on the relationship between the open price and the closing price. But red usually is not good. But it's interesting because I noticed earlier today they had undone yesterday's drop, and we're actually pushing toward Friday's high, but it's not sticking around. We're up 2.73% right now, and if we change the granularity of this to say 5 minutes, you can see there was this burst of buying excitement. The drop's finally over, and it stalled out and then started to waterfall down again. I also noticed, like moments before the camera clicked on, I was curious, have they mentioned when they were going to have earnings? Just came out. Not the earnings, but the announcement. They're going to release earnings in, I think, 2 Tuesdays from now, August 4. So that should be interesting. And there'll definitely be a lot of people listening to that one. So we've got a real rock'em sock'em early August for SpaceX, because as I say on a daily basis, August 11th is the first release, and then now we know August 4 is going to be the first earnings announcement as a public company. So let's just say between August 4 and August 12, SpaceX is going to be a very interesting critter. Because it's done so poorly, the whole space sector has been quite weak, although like a lot of other stuff today, it's been so badly battered, like 70 and 80% drops, that they're getting a little bit of a pop just because at some point someone's going to buy. Here we see Firefly Aerospace up over 6%, and Planet Labs up over 3%. That's nice, from a kind of, if you get your blinders on to the rest, but it's really immaterial in the grand scheme of the chart. And I've also noticed that the the chilly aftermath of the SpaceX IPO has completely cooled interest in these sort of pre-IPO funds that are traded. One in particular, 21 Capital, which has the Roman numeral XXI as their ticker symbol, lifetime low. Even though SpaceX is a little bit up to date, it's not especially germane because it's not like this is really more devoted to all the things that haven't gone public yet. It's just a hodgepodge of probably things like, Anthropic and Databricks, things like that. But the peak excitement on that terminated apparently on May 5th. And we've slipped on this from 9 down to like 4.4. Oh, incidentally, I meant to mention regarding SpaceX, and I sort of joke a little bit about these YouTube headlines. I noticed yesterday's YouTube title was something like, Tim says $90 is next for SpaceX. No, I mentioned just off the cuff that, wow, if earnings don't go great and the lockup release has a lot of sellers, you could see 90 next. I mean, it was just like pulled out of nowhere. I'm a chartist. I'm not making any kind of projection about where the price is going to go. Could it go to 90? Absolutely, which is why I said it. But the chart, there's nothing to go on. I'm happy to state specific prices if there's some rationale for it, but I just threw a double-digit number out there that seemed plausible as a maybe. So please don't take it as like, I'm projecting $90. I have no basis for that. They could have earnings that blow people's socks into the air and go flying higher for all I know. So there's from a charting perspective, I mean, it's based on history. There's very little history to go on. Happy to talk to you about Walmart, which has decades of history, but not SpaceX. I just sort of like look at it bug-eyed as it goes down every day. I still have puts on Costco. I sold half of them today just because there's other fish to fry. It's doing fine, sold at a profit, and of course the remaining position is still profitable, but it's kind of a meandering little critter, but still short Costco by way of those puts. Carvana is recovering a bit today. I sold a little bit of those today, those September, actually no, January, no, they are September, I beg your pardon, puts. They're doing well, but there's kind of two patterns cooking here. One of them is this huge diamond, which is complete, but the other is this trading range we've been banging around within. So we're kind of at the lower end of that range. I think what will snap this out of its stupor will be its own earnings report, which I think is, the memory serves, the 29th. FXI is a much needed bright spot for me today because it's taken a nice tumble down more than 1%. It's my biggest options position. Those are also September's. Those are $36 put, so that's going the right way. I appreciate that, FXI. Lennar, also short this, down more than 1%. I mentioned this one yesterday because of this tremendous head and shoulders top. But, it's really all about SMH at this point. As I said earlier, we've got support here, which was tagged on Friday, and we've got resistance here, and it's not to the penny. I mean, it's in this vicinity. If we keep going up, I mean, I'll get more and more reluctant to keep moving this line, but this isn't a bad approximation of resistance right now. The easy part of the bounce, I think, is kind of done. I mentioned China doing the right thing. It's some very welcome red on the screen today. Alibaba's down 1 2/3%. Baidu's down a bit more than 1%, so those are both going the right direction. And there's some other items that I'm short that are behaving themselves. We got Shopify, which has a big triple-digit PE ratio. This is down 1.25%. I like the exchanges right now. Chicago Mercantile's down over 2% and sort of J-curving the right direction here. New one I don't think I mentioned is Dynatrace, DT, which is down. I shorted this one yesterday, or the day before. It's down a bit more than 4%. And another exchange, Intercontinental Exchange, ICE. This is down about 1.5% below that big pattern right there. So as I say, the exchanges, for whatever reason, are looking real good. One last individual item I like on the short side, which I shorted about a week or so ago, MongoDB, MDB. And this is down almost 5%. It's a sloppy chart, really no pattern to speak of. Very, very sloppy, but behaving itself nicely. Just to wrap things up real quick, Here's the ES, inscrutable. We've been banging around this range for months. It was big down Friday. It was all over the map yesterday and closed basically unchanged, and it's big up today, undoing Friday's damage. It's just whiplashing and whipsawing, and as I said, tough read. A little easier to read, I think, and more important for my own purposes is the NQ, where we've got these kind of chapters of a book, these different chunks of range, which, as with the ES, we've banged around Friday, yesterday, today, but we're at least close to that important resistance level beneath all this range that we were trapped within. So hopefully tomorrow we'll get some selling to resume and undo this. Okay, so I'll see you tomorrow, and thanks for swinging by. Good night.